When I was about 6, I think, I was walking with my dad. It was a Sunday, wasn't it? I was walking up Dalton Road and I noticed this fella, this old fella, walk past and he's pushing this wheelchair, right? And there was an old woman in the wheelchair and she was kind of like this. Like, she didn't look too well and that. I thought she must have been asleep. It's a 6-year-old kid, you know, so I was kind of a bit confused by it. She sort of had her shoes on the wrong feet and sort of makeup was kind of badly applied. It was everywhere. And I thought, that's weird. Caught my dad up and sort of said to him, "Dad, what's that about? Is that lady alright? Is she just like having a sleep or something?" And he went, "No, she's dead." And I went, and then he just carried on what he was doing, just like shopping. It took me back a bit, you know what I mean? And I thought, well, what's he mean? And later I found out it was a guy that his wife died, and he obviously trauma does a lot to you, sort of mentally and stuff like that. So what happened was really is the effect of that thing happening made him go a certain way that he didn't want to leave her and he didn't want to lose her, so he carried on basically like your everyday life. You know, she was there. I think that the shock of seeing that and all that and the story behind that made me want to write about that, you know what I mean, and intrigued me that much that I got into writing. And I wanted to write about things that were a bit dark because I found them interesting. So that's one of the first stories I made, so I made a song out of it. And then it went on from there, and I suppose it's just being observational, isn't it? I mean, I've always been like an observational kid, so I've always been like the kid that's sort of like looking at something and observing it to an extent where you go on and write about it. And that's what songwriters do, don't they, really? Early on, it was all about characters. It was always about characters, about mainly in Barrow, people that I'd seen, and it would be, I would see them and I would make my own interpretation of their story, you know, and a lot of it's made up, but it's my interpretation of what I see that they might be doing, and they're quite outrageous characters that I've seen, you know. A lot of it was like that early on, and then as I sort of grown up, it was based on stories that I'd heard or people that I'd known, slightly elaborating them, but making them into songs that were just, you know, sometimes I thought about this the other day and I thought, it's quite funny because sometimes I don't usually write from me, you know, I write a song from, almost like from somebody else's point of view. Although it seems like it's about me, but it's not. Yeah, because I think my life's pretty boring, and I think like I've always wanted to write something that I couldn't stand the thought of singing a song and people being bored, because that would just make it pointless, wouldn't it? You know what I mean? And I thought if I can write about something that's really out of the ordinary a little bit from ordinary life, it's interesting, I think, and you can make it sort of somewhat like interesting and artistic in that way. If I just wrote about like, you know, my everyday day, it'd be a pretty shit song. Do you know what I mean? It'd just be, oh, you know, I had a shower and then watch some this morning. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? It wouldn't mean anything. It wouldn't, because I don't do anything. You know what I mean? I mean, all like most people don't, but there's people that do have a hell of a life and do lots of, you know, extraordinary things or whatever. And I think it's a lot better to sort of look at or express something from a more interesting point of view.
Mrs. Logan, she died upstairs. She wasn't lonely though, 'cause there's no heaven when you put an end to all your cares by blocking it all out. She wanted it over, he wanted coffee. She couldn't take any more abuse. She couldn't leave the house for that guy.
That started really because obviously I started when I was 13 or something like that. And I was always in a band, and I didn't sing or anything, I didn't have confidence. So I just wrote the songs, and then my brother was a singer at the time. Until then I wanted to break away and sing on my own. I got enough confidence to do that, and then after a bit of time and doing some certain gigs I did, it sort of knocked me confidence. I wanted a band again, and it was sort of like, it's a crutch really. Because you're not going out there on your own, and it is tough going out there on your own. It's quite scary, like. I mean, obviously, you walk out there and everybody's looking at you. But if you're going out there with other people, you feel like you're backed up in somewhere and you're part of something, and it's not as scary going out there in a group. It was mainly a confidence thing, really, and the idea that I was doing bigger gigs as well. As the gigs got bigger, I kept thinking I had to compensate for the size of the venue, so I needed to make more noise. You know what I mean? So that's why I got the bands involved and all that. But then I come to realise that it's not really about that. It's not about noise. I think it's more about a show. I'm putting on a show, and I'm not the sort of artist that should be playing in big venues anyway. I think it's suited to more intimate type things and stuff, because all I'm trying to do is tell a story, and I think sometimes if you bring a lot of instruments and a lot of other members in, and they're all making their own noise, sometimes something, by adding something, it often takes something away.
You've done this and you've done that, and I don't believe where I just sat. Said I think time's going home. What you talking about that you don't even know?
think from an early age it was my dad, because I used to go and see him on a Sunday. He plays, I mean, he's Irish and he plays Irish pipes. And I remember sitting watching him and being quite blown away by the noise and things make, and it would fill the room, you know, and it was almost like hypnotic kind of feeling you get from that. And I always just remember just being really impressed by his and he used to do this thing where he'd be sweating and he'd be, and that's kind of where I get it from, I think. And I think it sort of it became part of me, I think. That musically, and then really growing up, and the things that I'd sort of seen and experienced and things I heard about became the inspiration for the song. So that was kind of like the two together. It was I don't think it'd work if I was playing pipes. So, you know, I never really fancied doing that anyway, because I didn't see that as very cool. Although it's a great instrument and it sounds great, but you know, I don't really see that. But I mean, I do like music, you know, and I do like Dylan and that. I'm big into like folk music and Johnny Cash, people like that. But I don't really like saying it too much, because people then compare you to them. You know what I mean? Yeah. Don't you just like Johnny Cash? Why? Why? Sort of a teenager, you watched like there was a band called The Prophets. I used to watch them a bit. I liked them, and they did inspire me in a way, because I wasn't really doing anything then. I was kind of behind the. I was writing songs and that, but I didn't have the confidence to go on stage. So I was watching these bands and like Optimus Prime and that, you know, people like that. I remember when I was younger, but I remember seeing them and thinking that's what I want to do. And I suppose I was inspired by that. And, you know, there's my brother's band. He was in a band called The Sevens. I really like them. You know, a lot of energy and stuff like that. You know, and that's power playing now. Like, maybe you should be watching him. But yeah, there is. And one thing that I think is a big shame about. A lot of bands in Barrow is they never get seen. Well, I think it's quite sad really, because there is a lot of talent in there. I mean, I've seen a lot of great writers and that. And what fucking really pisses me off sometimes is like when you watch like reality TV and stuff and like the X Factor and that, you're just like, okay.
Sit down here and think about getting two sheds instead of one. One for you. And I said, whoa. She said, why? I said, nothing much.
quite a tough question because I've done a lot. But I did a gig once when I told you I was busking on Portobello Road, and that's when Mick Jones walked past and he got talking to me and all that, and he says, "What are you doing tonight?" And I said, "Wait," he was more like, "What are you doing tonight?" And I went, I'm not doing anything tonight." And he said, "Do you fancy playing at my show?" I went, "Yeah." And then, so he was doing this thing up the road, went up. I was, 1 minute I was busking, right? Next minute I was waiting backstage to go on, and there was probably about 2,000 there, something like that. It was only a small, you know, relatively intimate, fucking full of angry punks. Do you know what I mean? I was like, oh my god, that's the nervous I've ever been. I don't know about the best gig, but it was a big thing, you know what I mean? And he sort of announced me on and all that, and he says, "Oh, I met this lad, you know, he's from the north and all that," and then from that sort of point on, I did a gig there for about 8 months, wasn't it? After that, that was a big gig for me. I did Glastonbury, that was good, and I did a gig in Liverpool that was it was a charity gig, but that, for some reason, I always think that was my best performance. But really, the favourite time I played, I think, was at when I did one of them town hall things. Remember that?
Yeah, brilliant. Barrel Live, yeah.
Yeah, I did one of them.
I was there for that. That was good. It was a good gig.
I loved that. It was just me on my own, but I was only sort of, it was a few years ago, and I was only sort of just starting out on my own then.
I played on the opposite tent to you just before you went on.
Did you?
I did, yeah.
But because it was sort of, when it was on, it was just like the sun was sort of just going down a bit, and it was, the atmosphere was kind of, I loved it, I don't know, and then that was the one where everyone got on the stage and all that. I mean, I love that energy, you know what I mean,
yeah.
You get from it, and that was probably the best buzz I got from a gig.
No, it's not easy getting old, so I got it divorced, and I felt no remorse, 'cause my new girlfriend, she's only 15 years old.
Isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I've always wanted to make it theatrical. I wanted it to be something that you felt like you were in, something that you were involved with, something that you could remember. I think if you go to something and it's a gig and there's no backdrop or there's no props or anything like that on, there's a geezer in a pair of jeans and a t-shirt or something. They might be brilliant, you know, but I just don't think it sticks in your memory the same, because you put these little things on stage, like mannequins or whatever, and lights and stuff. It just adds that little bit of drama and that little bit of art to it, you know, and I've always been interested in that side of it, and I'm trying to depict the imagination on stage. I would love to do it massively more, sort of extravagant than that, but I can't afford it. So I have to just, if I had a lot of money and it was a big name and all that, it'd be fucking outrageous. There'd be fucking birds flying over, like, I don't know. I just have loads of mad stuff, like I'd like a guy just like cycling on stage, or mannequins and robotics I want that sort of move and do mad shit, you know, and an owl just with its eyes light up every now and then, I don't know, just loads of kind of like, what? I just like all that, it's like sort of Clockwork Orange-esque kind of dementia, you know what I mean? It's kind of taking it down that road. I think a lot of my songs are quite dark, so I think it does suit it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I started doing this thing at the moment where I wanted to play the organ, and I'm playing the organ and I've got my little thing where I've got some beats, so I'm doing that and I'm singing with my beats and my organ, and then I'm doing the guitar with a stomp. and a bit of harmonica, so I'm sort of like trying to mix it up so it's not just one dimensional, so it's not, that's one thing I hate. I've always hated that idea of just being one man and his guitar, because it's like, I feel like I'm boring people. I need to try and find a way of keeping them interested all the time.
Young again. And I almost look Arabian with my jet black hair. Right on time. So look in my direction, check me out, 'cause I know you're really
Well, I think if you sat in your bedroom knocking out songs, I think the best thing to do is start going to either Manchester, Liverpool, London. London's the best. I know it's far away. You can get gigs down there easy. I mean, you know, really easy, and you can get like places like where I played, like the 12 Bar on what's it called, Denmark Street. That's a really famous venue, really tiny, intimate venue. People go there to listen to songwriters, and they do hang on every word you say. And there's the Half Moon in Putney. If you get a gig there, you just apply, you send them a CD, and they'll put you on. People go there to listen, and basically it's just going and if you're good enough and your songs are good enough and people like what you're doing, they'll pick up on it and you'll get a fan base down there. I think that's the best thing to do if you want to further your career, you know what I mean? But I think in the meantime it's also good to do gigs locally to, you know, to keep it going, you know what I mean? Keep yourself going and that with it. But it's very important, I think, to go where the people are, you know what I mean, and where people are going to pick you up, really. Those things start happening when you put in the right places, and you can only do that by going to places like London, really.